once again to some questions. So, do you have any questions for your possible presidents? I see one right here. Do you want to pass the mic down the row there, please? I mastered that bad boy at Pass the Parcel. Got that skill down. Anyway.
Yeah, well, hi. My question is just that I am a vice president of a society now, and I found it really, really difficult to get people engaged, and it's definitely got worse as New Year's are coming up. They just don't seem to want to participate anymore. So I'm wondering what you're doing to promote that, not just in sport, but for societies like law, accounting, ones that are less well known.
Okay, how are you going to help societies engage more people? And we'll start with Cam Prosser. 1 minute.
Awesome question. Part of my manifesto is to review the current forum system. So I currently feel that it's unfair that some smaller societies are put in amongst with really huge sports societies and have no chance in getting funding that they vitally need to promote their society and put on some awesome events that they might have planned for the year. As sports and societies are under my mandate, I would propose that I sit down with you at the start of the year and outline everything that you want to do for the year and how I can support you and make your job a little bit easier, what you want, what your plans are for the year, what you want to do, and give you some support, some encouragement, some motivation, and generally be quite passionate about what you want to do, because at the end of the day, sports and society should be at the heart of the community. So there we go.
Okay, John.
Well, in my time doing the sports here at Hope, I've seen a lot of different systems come and go, and I want to overhaul the sports system at the moment so that they're being funded on rewards based. So not necessarily in terms of their kind of results on the field, but in terms of what they're doing to help the wider community. And that would release funds to funnel into the societies, so that each society can start the year with, I proposed around about a £50 budget. Now, it doesn't sound a lot, but for a society that doesn't have a lot of members, that £50 can go a long way in terms of promoting, getting more members in and allowing them to help set up some sort of community and committee within that. And having 4 years on the trot, been to the committee training that the SU have provided for both sports and societies, I want to relook at that and look at how we can really target society committees, because at the end of the day they are different to sports in the way they're needed.
And that's time, candidate. Thank you. Next is Jack.
I'm really glad you asked that, because before I ran out of time I was going to actually explain a little bit about this. So I'm president of the History and Politics Society at the moment, and I've sort of seen the way you're coming from with that students not really getting involved as much, but I believe the key is social media. I found that by adding people on Facebook into groups and making them more aware, you can really boost your membership. Give It a Go sessions are really good as well. I think they should be rolled out for societies, so you can get a sense of what societies do. And also, in terms of boosting funding, I think the university just don't give us enough money for all our sports and societies, so let's just forget about them. Let's get experts in from different charities to do talks about the best way to raise money. So definitely boosting memberships for societies and boosting funds should really make sports and society stronger at our university.
Oh, right on time, candidate. And Hannah Baker.
Hi, it's a really good question. Again, just to expand on what everyone else has said, basically, we want to promote societies, especially small and new societies, with events, making sure that you know where to go to get sponsorships as well from external companies. Also to review the forum voting system, so that it's not just the people who bring the most members who get the votes. And also things as simple as lobbying the university to let us put posters in certain places, you know, something as simple as that, which, you know, gets more eyes focused on societies and more people involved as well, hopefully.
Okay, thank you. We did actually have a question sent in beforehand, on here somewhere. Yeah. So this question is, so During the next year, there will be a general election. How will you get students involved and make sure that they get voting? Starting with you, Hannah.
I actually had this, when I ran out of time, I was going to talk about how important students are for the, we're a vital political voice, basically. At the moment, political parties are doing the most for senior citizens, families, the middling classes, who are the ones who are more engaged. What I want to do is just make people aware that there is an election coming up and that you can make change, rather than sitting there thinking, oh, I'm not bothered because all the parties are the same. Getting local speakers in from the council, saying how we can do this, and generally just more awareness.
Okay, Jack.
Well, I think we should get Russell Brand in to do a speech about the importance of voting. No, I'm only joking. I think it's really important voting in the general election, but I think it needs to be completely neutral and there'd be no bias towards any political parties. So I propose that we do debates, try and get local councillors to do debates, try and get societies like the History and Politics Society involved. I know there's a number of political parties that have their own societies. Just making sure that everyone's registered to vote, that's the key really. So just posters around the university, emails informing that you've got to register to vote by a certain time, and information on how to vote and where. So yeah, I think that's it basically.
Okay, John.
Did you ask this question by any chance?
Yeah, this one.
No. Well, Ben's done a lot of work with getting people registered at the moment, and I'd love to be able to carry that on, setting up stalls in and around all 3 campuses, so that people are aware of what's going on. They can register there and then, rather than having to go away look it up themselves. I do think there has been too much bias over the years within the union as to what political parties have been pushed. At the end of the day, we're here to represent all students, not just those students that have the same political view. So, as these guys have said, getting in people from the local community, the local councillors, to give talks as to what's going to be happening during the upcoming elections, and the policies that they're standing for, and letting students make up their own mind rather than telling them who or where they should be voting.
Okay,
firstly, I want to say that I believe that politics is subjective, and under no means would I ever push my own political beliefs onto students, and like the previous candidates have said, it needs to be totally neutral. But that's not to say that we shouldn't be promoting the general election. We really should, because students are the demographic that have shown that vote the least, and we really need to attack this and challenge this by first and foremost advertising, so using social media and stuff like that, and getting students to actually understand what politics are. I think a lot of students don't realise or understand that there's more than just one party. So like people have said, getting different party members to speak and really showcase what they're about and what politics is all about, and getting students educated about politics and UK politics and the wider world. So that students have a voice.
That's time, candidate. Thank
Students
you.
have a voice.
Just keep on that. I'll take another question from the audience. There's someone at the back there who's not asked a question yet.
Thank you. Hello. I want to ask more about politics. You've all spoken heavily about sports and society engagement, but what political campaigns will you run on national political issues such as government cuts to education? Well, obviously the general election is just one part of it, so yeah.
Okay, so starting with you, sorry, I've closed my timer again. What political campaigns will you run as president?
Okay, in terms of political campaigns, obviously the government cuts to Liverpool has been heavily attacked by government cuts, and that's one thing that I really want to get students involved with, and I think it should be based here in Liverpool. I think it's great to go down to London, and we should be doing that as well, but also in Liverpool as well, where we have been heavily cut, and we need to stand up and say that this isn't fair. We have a right to our education, and also lobbying the university as well, looking at how our lectures are run, how our courses are run, in terms of how that's fair with the rise in tuition fees, looking at stuff like that, and also other political campaigns that I will support are... I had a list of them before and they've just gone out of my head. Wonderful. No, sorry.
Because it's time. And John?
Well, I'm not massive on politics myself, and I know that sounds weird to say when we've just had all these questions. And if you were to ask me that now, I think I'd struggle to answer. If I was to start this job tomorrow, I wouldn't really know exactly what I'm doing, but the training that NUS can be providing us and the in-house training that we get from the university, I think would equip me in order to be able to kind of support these campaigns, take my guidance through NUS, see what they know about what's affecting students on a national scale, as well as us ourselves running surveys, getting drop-in sessions, getting forums together in order to find out what really does matter to students, rather than just jumping on any political bandwagon, whenever it appears.
Okay, Jack.
Okay, well, basically, I want to make sure that whatever direction the union takes, the students are behind. So if we had a policy for, I don't know, campaigning against government cuts, we have to post it online and making sure that students are behind it, first of all. But one thing I really do want to make sure is that any far-right groups do not infiltrate the university. I've seen a few worrying articles about the Uni of Liverpool. There's a few guys that I think should be probably kicked out of uni. So I want to make sure that no societies are ever set up that are racist in any way, shape or fashion. And also I want to make sure that if a political party is campaigning for a policy, that they actually go through with it, and that if they don't, then we really try and take them down. So let's just think of who did that in the last general election, and I think you've got a good idea.
That's time. And Hannah Baker.
Again, just expanding on what everyone else has said, obviously we've got the NUS to help us with national campaigns, linking up with them and what they're doing, obviously making sure that our students are happy to do that, as well as linking up with the other universities in Liverpool. We need to be outside those council buildings, saying we're not happy, listen to us. Even going down to London, doing more sort of demonstrations outside Parliament, things like that. And something such as social media, the e-petitions to the Commons, and yeah, just getting more involved generally in as much activism as we can.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. I'm seeing one from someone who's not asked one before, so I'll go to you. Just wait for the microphone.
Obviously, there's the uni has a lot of problems that they face, but what do you think the biggest problems are that the uni's going through at the minute, and how do you plan on tackling them?
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
Oh, sorry. The uni obviously there's a lot of problems with the university. Which do you think are the biggest problems that they're going through at the minute, and how do you plan on tackling them?
What do I think are the biggest problems?
Well, yeah.
Okay, personally, I'm not a fan of the integrated curriculum, but that would obviously be something that the VP Education would be working out. So I would love to work with them to help them out with that. We've got massive accessibility issues at the moment, with especially with new buildings being built all the time. I think even the doors on this, on the front of this complex, were replaced and weren't automatic when they were put in. So the lovely Sophie has campaigned to change that, and just things that seem like the simple things, but the obvious to make everyday students' lives easier.
Okay, Jack.
Okay, well, I think the biggest problem with the university is probably the university itself. They just take a dictatorial stance on everything. They try and be like the fun police. Oh, you can't cartwheel in front of your halls. Do you know, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I think the student voice needs to be bigger, and the best way of going about that is getting more people involved in the union, making more events, making it more fun, and then we can actually tackle the serious issues of the university itself, which is the Vice-Chancellor and all his players up there. So yeah, thanks.
John.
Damn it, you stole mine. No, my personal biggest issue with the university, although it kind of does have many, would be Professor Pillay. Not him as a person or the job that he's doing, but I was just wondering how many of you guys have seen him, how many of you guys have had the opportunity to speak to him. And he's the one making the decisions on your education, how we're run as a union and as a student body. And I'd just like to create more opportunity where students hold not only the union to account, but also Professor Pillay and the management team in order to get your voice heard. That's kind of my main issue.
Okay, and Professor.
I think the biggest problem generally is communication, and I've found that over the 4 years that I've had this, that I've been here, throughout my time as an undergraduate student and now as a master's student. So I want to put in more support for students so that students are getting the answers that they want, they are getting time to speak to their lecturers, and then to, like Coffee said, to go even further than that and hit right at the top Professor Pillay, and generally look at this university, because we're coming here, we're paying here, and we want an education, and at the moment I don't feel that the level of service that we're getting as students is good enough for the prices that we're paying. That's generally what I've got to say.
Thank you very much. Will you please give a huge round of applause for your candidates for president?